breaking as we come on the air, another targeted attack on the Jewish community, this time at a pro-Israel event for the hostages in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect in custody this morning, and we're learning more about this person, that he was in the U.S. illegally. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown, in for Jan Jeffcoat. It's Monday, June 2nd. And sadly, we start this week with yet another attack targeting the Jewish community. The FBI is investigating the incident as an act of terrorism. It comes less than 2 weeks after 2 Israeli diplomats were shot and killed outside the Jewish Museum at our nation's capital. And we do have team coverage this morning. We have Kayla Gaskins in D.C. following the latest efforts by the Trump administration to stop anti-Semitism. But first, we start with Mark Boyle at the live desk with the latest out of Colorado. Mark, this makes you angry, but it's also very heartbreaking at the same time.
It certainly is. And seeing it all on the video, Angela, just makes it so much realer. Take a look at some of the scene video there. We just checked the Boulder jail website. The suspect facing several charges, including murder, but the sheriff's office hasn't confirmed any deaths yet. More on that in a moment. But what we do know, at least 8 people set on fire in what's believed to be an anti-Semitic attack. This is the man, the suspect here, 45-year-old Mohammed Solomon, the center of this, and he is behind bars this morning, taken into custody after police say he used Molotov cocktails and a makeshift flamethrower on members of the Jewish community. In video from moments after the attack, Solomon can be heard saying, quote, "They are killers. Palestine is free." Take a listen.
If you are fighting, that's what he's got right here is Molotov alcohol. That's what he's got right here is Molotov alcohol.
And White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller posting this message on X, saying that the terror attack was committed by an illegal alien who illegally overstayed his visa. The FBI saying the crime will be treated as an act of terrorism.
As a result of these preliminary facts, it is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism. Sadly, attacks like this are becoming too common across the country. This is an example of how perpetrators of violence continue to threaten communities across our nation.
Take a look at this page right here. Anyone can go to the Boulder jail booking website and see this, as we did. The suspect's due in court at 1:30 local time. The charges on the top right. Charges include crimes against at-risk adult elderly, so anyone over the age of 70. And then right there you see it, murder in the first degree. We have not heard yet, though, of any of the victims dying, so there's essentially a question mark around that charge. We're tracking for updates. Bond set, Angela, at $10 million.
And we will be waiting for more information from you on that, Mark. And as Mark mentioned, the suspect in Colorado was reportedly in the U.S. illegally. According to the White House, 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon is an Egyptian national who originally entered the U.S. on a non-immigrant visa back in 2022. That visa apparently expired back in November of 2023. He was then granted a temporary work visa, which also expired a few months later in March. In a post online, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, writing right here, a terror attack was committed in Boulder, Colorado by an illegal alien. He was granted a tourist visa by the Biden administration, and then he illegally overstayed that visa. In response, the Biden administration gave him a work permit. Suicidal migration must be fully reversed. And
all right, let's stop that right there. What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, and I'm back with another visual. Man. Here we go again, man. Here we go again. Hope everybody having a great day, man. Start of the morning, top of the morning. And as the title says, a radical illegal immigrant in Colorado, and President Trump and Elon Musk beefing? Man. So let's deal with the first part. Apparently, there was some protests going down in Boulder, not California, but border Colorado. And the protests were about Gaza and Israel and all that whole situation with the hostages and things like that. And this guy, which is an illegal immigrant from Egypt, was throwing Molotov cocktails at people, setting them on fire. Now, how many times have I came on this platform and displayed illegal immigrants committing heinous crimes against citizens of America? This dude from Egypt. So when in Joe Biden administration, they had every opportunity to have this guy removed, but they gave him an extension. I mean, it don't get too much clear cut than this. Not only do you got people coming from south and north of the border, you got people coming from across the world. And a lot of these people don't like Americans. That's the danger of this. Could you imagine being somewhere out and some crazy lunatic throwing Molotov cocktails at you, setting you on fire because they mad about something that's going on the other side of the planet with some hostages? You know, like, at what point are people going to admit that mass deportation making America safe again? I mean, we already got our own criminality problems here. We don't need these people from the other side of the country the other side of the world that don't mean us no good in this country. You know, this is insanity. So Donald Trump said that they let people from insane asylums, they let people that were out of mental health institutions, and just sent them over here. And the more stories that we cover on this topic, I'm starting to believe 100% that that's exactly what they did. Who in their right mind will be doing what this man was doing? Throwing Molotov cocktails at people over some hostages that ain't even in this country. It's insane, man. So, and this happened on Sunday, a couple days ago. And I'm just not getting to this story, but I do want to read exactly what, happened here to get some more clarity. So I got an article here from the New York Post. Let me share that on the screen. Okay. Y'all see that, right? Well, let's go through this. What to know about the attack on a march for hostages held in Gaza? 12 people in Boulder, Colorado were injured after a man threw Molotov cocktails in an attack that he had planned for a year, the authorities said. So this man had been planning this for a year. Wow. And in that year's time is when Joe Biden and them could have got him up out of here because his visa had expired. Like, this is textbook terrorism. Let's see. 6 family members of the man charged with burning marchers who were calling for the releases of hostages in Gaza were arrested by immigration officials on Tuesday as the Trump administration responded to the attack in Colorado that has rattled Jews across the country. Federal immigration officials detained the wife and 5 children of the suspect, Mohammed Sabri Solomon, 45 years old, who the police said had yelled "Free Palestine" as he threw Molotov cocktails at marchers on Sunday, injuring 12 in Boulder, Colorado, setting people on fire. Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said the suspect's family had been taken into custody of Immigration and Customs Enforcement and that the authorities would also be investigating whether they knew anything about Mr. Sullivan's plans for the attack, the FBI said he had been planning the assault for a year. Stephen Redfern, the chief of the Boulder Police Department, said in an interview on Tuesday that the investigation is preliminary, but based on the information uncovered so far, Mr. Sullivan appeared to be the definition of a lone wolf attacker. Okay, so he was alone in that. That's crazy. That is crazy, man. I'm just saying, bro. Now, we have seen people that just been doing the most and that have been let over here illegally, unvetted, and commit heinous crimes once again. Rest in peace to Eva Moore, that was hit by an illegal immigrant. We covered that the other day. She was kayaking in the water, and I forgot what state she was in, but an illegal immigrant on a speedboat ran her over and unalived her. She was 18 years old, and she evaded the scene, hopped in the car with another illegal immigrant, and then they got into a car crash. I mean, this is insane. And then we had Larissa Thompson that was driving down the street minding her business. She was 40 years old, a young mother, and 6 illegal immigrants ranging from the ages of 13 to 21 tried to rob her. And when she tried to get away, they lit the car up, shot the car up, and unalived her. And here now, we got a radical illegal immigrant in Colorado throwing Molotov cocktails at people that's protesting. Insane. At what point are we going to hold this previous administration accountable for what's going on in this country? But let's get to a little bit more clarity on the situation.
Welcome back. Here, reactions from lawmakers pouring in after Sunday's attack in Boulder, and a big sticking point for some, the fact that the suspect is reported to have overstayed his visa.
Carly Moore is at the Capitol this morning as some lawmakers are now calling for immigration reform here in the state of Colorado. Carly, good morning.
Kirk, Andrea, good morning. Yet lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are condemning this attack. But now really immigration policy is at the forefront of this conversation. Of course, this all comes as the U.S. Department of Homeland Security saying the attacker in this case overstayed their visa here in our country. Here's what you need to know this morning. So according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the perpetrator here came to the U.S. from Egypt in 2022 under a tourism visa. They say that his B2 visa expired in February 2023, and he had been trying to seek asylum in the U.S. since September 2022, but still he was in the country illegally. Now, Ron Weinberg, a state representative from Larimer County, a Republican, said he didn't want to politicize the issue so.
Man, this dude 45 years old. Man, this dude look like he about 75 years old. Damn.
Soon, but said he was disgusted and disheartened when he learned of the attack in Boulder. He's a Jewish representative who immigrated to the U.S. from South Africa as a young man. Attorney General Phil Weiser, also of Jewish heritage, says despite the suspect's immigration status, an investigation shows this attack had been planned for at least a year.
I try to not put identity politics first. I try to make sure that I'm a lawmaker for the city of Loveland and the state of Colorado first, and kind of federal policy and everything else aside must be dealt with on the federal level. So that's where I try to deal with that. But when it comes to my heritage, you know, my whole family was affected by the Nazis.
There are lots of people who may stay from one expired visa, who may be in a process to get a different status. What we need to make sure we do is any intel that we can get on anybody, whatever the status is that they're here, if they are planning a hateful attack, this was planned over a year, we need to take that seriously.
Now, according to Homeland Security, one of about 500,000 people every year overstay their tourist visas. The man is facing federal hate crime charges for targeting a specific group on a Jewish holiday, no less. Live in at the Capitol, Carly Moore, Fox 31.
Wow, man. And this, it's just terrible, man. If these people wasn't in our country, that would have never happened. Luckily, nobody was unalived in that situation, I don't think. People wasn't, I think they said 12 people were injured. That's bad enough. I mean, that's crazy, bro. Normally, people throw Molotov cocktails at buildings, you throwing them at people. Just crazy, man. Prayers go out to the people that were affected by that. And it's just insane that when we get on here and we talk about how not only the financial burden of illegal immigration, but the safety that is compromised to the American citizens, man, you would think more people would be championing what we say on this platform about that, man. This ain't no game, bro. These people out here are really committing heinous crimes. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Let's get to what the White House press secretary had to say about this, Miss Caroline Leavitt. Because what are we gonna do about this type of stuff, man? I know ICE doing their thing, but we gotta expedite this situation, bro.
The White House is doing everything they can to keep them safe after the horrific attack in Boulder, and also the 2 Israeli embassy staff who were targeted just last week here in our nation's capital.
Yeah, we have seen 2 horrific cases of anti-Semitic violence in our country in the last 2 weeks, and it is unacceptable to this president and this White House. And rest assured, to all Jewish Americans across our great country, this president has your back, and he's not going to allow anyone to take part in violent terrorism, acts of terrorism in our country. And that's what this case in Boulder, Colorado is being investigated as. Kudos to our FBI director, Kash Patel, for immediately calling this a targeted terrorist attack. That's clearly what it was. But I'd also like to point out that this administration has done more than any administration to curb this violence and to curb illegal immigration. We secured our border in record time, but we're also tightening up our visa process and our legal immigration process. And we know that this individual, this terrorist, was allowed into this country by the previous administration, was foolishly given a tourism visa, and then was illegally allowed to stay. These individuals are going to be.
So let's get this straight. Everything that she's saying is the result of the previous administration's mishaps. So they have to take time to go clean up the dirt that the last administration dropped. They got to go. It's nothing worse than having to fix something that you didn't break. When Trump left office and handed over the country to Joe Biden administration, illegal immigration was a non-factor. Hell, we could go back to when Obama was in office. That's why I don't understand the Democrats and the left. Obama deported way more people than Donald Trump did. They didn't have a problem. He was the mass deportator in chief in office. Obama was, look it up, he was deporting, he was getting them up out of here. So when Obama gave it to Trump, it was tight. Trump tightened it up even more, gave it to Biden. Biden just, and Kamala Harris just left. Who let the dogs out? Roof. What was that song back in the day? They let the damn dogs out. Now you got people running around here from Egypt with Molotov cocktails. You got people running around here on speedboats running people over that's just in the water chilling. You got adolescents riding around with extendos, just trying to rob innocent, mothers out here that's trying to go about their day. And now the Trump administration got to sit here and try to clean up the dirt that they dropped. While Biden and them get to ride off in the sunset. Is that fair? But they gonna blame Trump for this somehow, some way. That's gonna happen. Insane, bro. I'm just saying, man. Jesus.
Be deported, and we're not going to tolerate such violence in our country.
Caroline, last week you told me that Donald Trump was waiting until the talks between Russia and Ukraine today in order to make a judgment on whether or not Vladimir Putin wanted peace. Those talks have happened. Where does he stand, and is he willing to impose additional sanctions?
I'll let the president speak on that.
Today, the Russian and Ukrainian delegations met in Istanbul.
Okay, so they offered to some other things after that. So we can stop that right there, man. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. I feel bad for everybody that's affected by that because it seemed like it was a peaceful protest. I don't get off into the whole thing really that's going on over there in Gaza and Palestine and Israel, man. I pray for everybody affected, I hope that them people been fighting each other since the beginning of the time. It's sad what's going on in the Middle East, since the biblical times. So it's kind of hard to go in and really dissect that whole dynamic for centuries. That's, for centuries. So you'll have to go back to really get to the bottom of what's going on over there. But I'm praying for everybody over there. But we got to fix our country. We can't, it's just like, if your house ain't right, you can't fix nobody else's house. Our country is in shambles itself. So we got to really focus in on what we got going on over here. You can't be a blessing to nobody else until you're a blessing to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta make sure we make America as great as it can be. And part of that is getting some of these people up out of here. Now, if you get up out of here and you want to go through the proper process of being vetted, then by all means, we welcome all legal immigrants into our country. Because we don't want innocent people coming around here throwing Molotov cocktails at citizens that's doing a peaceful protest or whatever. You got the right to assemble. Anybody has that right to assemble. You know what I'm saying? So for them to have that happen to them, it's crazy. But let's get to something else, man. The second part is President Trump and Elon Musk beefing. Say it ain't so, man. Say it ain't so. Not the bros. You know what I'm saying? But see, what they beefing over is the spending bill, the big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump is trying to get passed through Congress. The one that had, no tax on tips. That's a favorite one. Tax on overtime. All of that. But see, people don't understand the process of when you have a bill like that that goes into law, it has to get passed through the House and the Senate. And the House puts a vote. They made a vote on it. And then during the process of them voting on these bills, a lot of things that Trump put in there, this is why it takes so long, because the other people in the House, they want to add and subtract from it before they pass it. So you have these negotiations going on, right? So that's the first process. So the House passed the bill, but it don't have everything that he wanted to implement. It has some of the most important things. Now, Elon Musk doesn't like what is in the bill. He says that everything he did with Doge don't make no difference because we're still gonna have trillions of debt and trillions of dollars of debt in a 10-year span. He believes that everything they did to cut the deficit it ain't gonna matter with at the state where this bill is at now. That's where Elon Musk is saying. Trump is like, hey man, I think we're gonna be good. You know, we got to get this thing passed ASAP so we can get the American people back on track. So they having a clash, right? A difference of opinion on the bill. And that's one thing, man, I say this. Although I don't like the fact that Elon Musk went so public with his disagreement the way that he did, if they was going to disagree, I would rather them did it a different way. But he went to X and voiced his frustration. Elon, you know, Trump, you know, pretty much said what he had to say about it. But, you know, what on the flip side of that, what I could say is it's full transparency. Like, people gonna disagree. But this is way too serious to be disagreeing on this spending bill as far as the budget, you know. But let's get into it, man. Let's get to it. Just for some clarification, since I broke that down a little bit, I want to go ahead and present this MSNBC, you know, see what they got to say about it. Let's get to it.
Another crack between Elon Musk of Doge and Donald Trump, who just days ago, when he gave him his goodbye, said very nice things about him. But now Elon Musk posted something on X extremely critical of the president's mega bill. And Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, was just asked about it at the White House press briefing. Take a listen.
How mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it. Yeah.
Wow. So right there, you know what I'm saying? You see that they already well aware of the disagreement. You know, they tried to, you know what I'm saying, throw Caroline off with that. But she had a perfect answer, short and sweet. Get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's go to the next question. So they well aware of each other's stance on the bill. I just wanted to pause that right there because you see what Elon said. He like, man, this is disgusting. This pork field is, he's not hiding how he feel about the bill, and he's going public with it. Like I said, I really don't like that because if we homies, you know what I'm saying, why would you go public like that? But then again, on the flip side, it's kind of good to see the transparency that neither one of them on no yes man ish. You feel me? They both, you know, strong in their conviction on how they feel. But let's get it together. Because see, this bill could still go, because now the House of Representatives, which is basically the Republican Party, has passed the bill. You know what I'm saying? Now it's got to go through the Senate, which is basically the Democrats. Now, when people say Trump got the House and the Senate, you know what I'm saying, and the presidency when he won the election, basically meaning it's more Republicans in Congress than it is Democrats. So if he could get all the Republicans to vote, it don't matter if every Democrat vote against it, because we got the majority, right, with the Republicans. But a lot of people some of the people in the Republicans have their stance. They don't like the bill. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see if this gets passed in the timely fashion that Trump wants it to get passed on. But it's just so much compromise that has to go through this with Congress. You know, and it's just really, it's got to be a better, more modern way that we can get bills passed in this nation. This is a big headache. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's continue.
Yeah, thank you. The national. Let's bring back NBC's Vaughn Hill. failure. So it's either one big beautiful bill or it's a disgusting abomination. Maybe Donald Trump doesn't care that Elon Musk says that. What do you make of this?
Right. Levitt dismissing Elon Musk's criticisms of it, but also she was asked specifically about the comments of Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, two longtime allies of the president, who have echoed the criticisms of Elon Musk, saying that in its current form, that they are hard no's and that there is no way that they will vote for this reconciliation package under the circumstances that the Congressional Budget Office is estimating that it would add $3.8 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years. And that is where some of the criticism, as Rand Paul has suggested, is that he wants a clean tax cut bill to be passed by this Congress. But what you see in this bill is $150 billion extra for border enforcement and for mass deportation efforts, another $150 billion to go towards the military. And that's where some of these concerns about spending are going to make the passage of this bill very complicated, because you have Josh Hawley on the other side, who's been criticizing the cuts to Medicaid. And of course, you have Lisa Murkowski, who has several different issues with it. And they can only afford, if every Democrat votes against it, as is anticipated, they can only afford to lose 3 Republican senators. And right now, it's people like Ron Johnson, who you got to go back to 2020, and he was delivering alternative slate of electors. This is somebody who has been a close ally to the president, who is suggesting that he could seek to try to kill this. Because if
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second, because Elon Musk has followed up. So I want to read this to you, Vaughn. He says it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, something Donald Trump likes, and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt.
Damn. So Elon Musk done doubled down on it. What's going on with President Trump and Elon Musk, man? What's going on? He done doubled down on it. Dang. What I'll say is this, man. I guess we can stop that right there, man. What I'll say is this. You know, I just don't like the public, this being so public, what they supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? You were part of the administration. A lot of stuff should stay in-house. And if you have a disagreement and you want to disassociate yourself from it, it's a better way that could have been done. I don't like, it's kind of messy on Elon's part. You know what I'm saying? It's messy. You on Twitter, Twitch or X or whatever you call it, and you out here just being disagreeable publicly. Now, what I would say is this, which I heard a few people say, like, maybe this is strategic. You know, maybe they planning something, you know, and they doing this publicly for a reason, for some type of, agenda that they got when it pertains to this bill. But it's a lot of things in the bill that I heard that I really like, and mainly the most famous stuff is no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. But you know, the spending of the military and all this other stuff is stuff that, you know, you gotta kind of question. You know what I'm saying? Like, why people are so up in arms about it. But I want to get Elon Musk with his own words, you know what I'm saying, how he feel about the bill once again. He ain't holding back, man. Let's see here. Yeah, man, it's up and it's stuck between Elon and Trump.
So, you know, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
Wow, he throwing shots, man. Shots fired. Shots fired. But see, he's sitting over there laughing too. So it make you wonder, like, is this a little game Trump and Elon playing? Because you know he just did Doge, and he had to step down just the other day, like maybe, not even a week ago. And he gave Elon all these, parting gifts, and they had this bromance going on for the past, I'd say about a year and a half. Elon donated like 250 million, a billion, or whatever, for Trump campaign. He was out here going hard for him. Then all of a sudden, y'all falling out over this little bill, man. I don't know. It might be a finesse move they playing. But I do want to, before I get up out of here, Trump response to Elon, and this was actually last week. So they've been having this little dialogue about this spending bill, the big beautiful bill. So yeah, man, Trump and Elon beef, man. They out here beefing like some rappers.
Yeah. Mr. President, Elon Musk in a television interview criticized the one big beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the Doge efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was. We have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase. If that doesn't get approved, this country is going to have a 65% increase in taxes and lots of other problems, big problems, almost bigger than that. But we'll have a 65% increase as opposed to the largest tax cut in the history of our country. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill. But the beautiful is because of all of the things we have. The biggest thing being, I would say, the level of tax cutting that we're going to be doing. We're going to make people really be able to, we'll have the lowest tax rate we've ever had in the history of our country. And tremendous amounts of benefit are going to the middle income people of our country, low and middle income people of our country. So we're going to see what happens, because the Senate, as you know, is negotiating with us, and they have to then go back to the House, and it's got a way to go. But I have to say, Speaker Johnson and Thune have done an incredible job. John Thune has done a fantastic job, and they're working together with me and others. And I think we have an amazing, if we pull this off, remember, we have 0 Democrat votes because they're bad people. There's something wrong with them. They'll let people pour into our country. Single biggest problem is we had 21 million people pour into our country, probably higher than that. And they're people that weren't supposed to be here. And many of those people are bad. Murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They were closing mental institutions all over the world, not South America, all over the world. They're coming into our country. And
Now, he ain't lying. That man ain't lying. He said, not only South America, from all over the world. Earlier in this video, and we can stop that right there. Earlier in this video, man, I showed y'all a radical illegal immigrant in Colorado throwing Molotov cocktails on people, and he was from Egypt. The hell? So just imagine all the people over the past 4 years that hate you just because you're an American. You ain't did nothing to them. They would love nothing more to throw a Molotov cocktail and set you on fire just because you're an American that's in this country right now. And that don't piss you off? That your government would allow somebody that just willy-nilly come over here like that, unvetted? had the opportunity to send them out, man. But anyway, it just baffles me that people are not outraged by that. You got family members. If not you, you got children, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, anybody that could be harmed by somebody that just don't like them because they are an American citizen. and people get mad at you for talking about it. I don't get it. But hey, that's another conversation for another day, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more content as the world turns. But yeah, like Trump said, man, we got to get it passed. That's his position, and I'm gonna roll with Trump on this, man. You know why? Because I'm not saying Elon Musk is wrong, but Trump has the experience as the president. So he's been through this before. And, you know, he's shown improvement in his last administration. The economy was great. So I'm just trusting that he's going to do the same thing. And he knows what he's doing. Elon, you know, he got his position. I just wish that they would have expressed themselves a little better. They probably could have, you know, sat down and talked about it. And hey, before we go public, this is how we gonna present it to the people. Or it could be strategic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they trying to get a reaction from the Senate. You know what I'm saying? As far as the bill is concerned, you never know. We're gonna see how it rolls out. But what say you? You know what I'm saying? Leave it in the comment section. It's your boy Jay Taylor. Voices for the voiceless. We love y'all. Until next time, talk to you soon. Peace and blessings.